How would the Angels respond to back-to-back losses in Texas with a new series in Minnesota? Reid Detmers making the start. Well, how about an impressive 6-2 win with Reid Detmers looking great? We'll talk about the very solid win for the Halos on tonight's edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast right now.
You are Locked On Angels Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls. Hello, Postcast people, and welcome to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Coming at you live, as always, on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel and after the fact, wherever you get the Locked On Angels podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, I'm Gavin Carlson. I spent the last 4 years as a credentialed journalist in the LA area, and I'm now a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm an Angels fan just like you, and the Angels give us something to be excited about tonight. A 6-2 win in the series opener in Minnesota against a Minnesota Twins team that is struggling, that needs to win, that thought this Angels series would be a big opportunity for them to turn things around. They're now just 8 games over 500. We don't care about the Twins. What we care about is Reid Detmers getting his first win since April 12th with a very impressive 6 innings pitched, just gives up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, had 8 strikeouts as well to lead the Angels to a 6-2 win over the Minnesota Twins to move to 60-84. Win number 60 on the year. The road to 63 wins is looking very good and easy now. The road to 67, 68, 69 wins, something like that. Maybe it's still a possibility. Feeling good about it after tonight's performance. Shout out to everybody in here as always. Before we jump into this one, appreciate all of you being in here. Yes, Saucy James says, imagine your squad is competing for a playoff and the opposing team brings in Jose Suarez and pitches 3 scoreless innings. Yes, somehow, some way, Jose Suarez gets a 3-inning save to lower his ERA to 7.51. Absolutely hilarious. But before we get into that, before we get into the story, which is Reid Detmers, also, how about Niko Kavadas looking like a potentially MLB hitter tonight? Taylor Ward with a 3-hit game. Yeah, there's a lot to get into tonight. But before we do, shout out to everybody in here as always. And also, shout out to the sponsor of today's Monday night Locked On Angels Postcast. It is... Well, it's loading now. I don't know what's going on. I'll tell you the sponsor in a second, but once again, shout out to everybody in here. I appreciate you. I know I wasn't able to do the show yesterday. The moral of the story is, as much as I would love to be able to do 2 shows in one day, that being I did the Rams postcast last night. If you watched that, I appreciate it. Go if you haven't already and watch that, whether you're a Rams fan or not. I had a lot to say. It was a great game against the Lions. Unfortunately, our Rams were not able to come through with the victory, but the first ever regular season edition of the Locked On Rams postcast. It was a lot of fun. There's always a lot of people in there live. We know how much everyone loves the NFL. I mean, especially right now with the Niners game happening. I'm sure a lot of you are watching that while you're listening to me, or maybe you're listening to this after the fact and you're watching that right now as it's going on. But yeah, please, if you haven't already, go head over to the Rams postcast I did yesterday. But once again, sorry I wasn't able to do the Angels postcast. All the stories when there's 2 games happening in one day. Unfortunately, I have to prioritize the football game just because there's obviously 1 football game a week, whereas there are, plenty of Angels games every week. And, so obviously I'm going to prioritize the Rams season opener on Sunday Night Football over the Angels. I know it doesn't mean I don't care about our Angels. It doesn't mean I was not hoping to do a postcast. I'm now 0 for 2 in doing Caden Dana games. Really want to talk about him. Obviously, he did not have a great start yesterday and the Angels fell. But moral of the story is, I will certainly be able to do every show during this week. There are no football games. Yes, UCLA plays Saturday. I'm not positive what time the Angels play during that, but hopefully I will be able to do both. So if you were looking for the Angels postcast yesterday, my apologies. As much as I would love to prioritize the Angels, I have to prioritize the once-a-week games in UCLA and the Rams. But with all that being said, I'm not able to pull up the sponsor. Something's going on. So we'll just jump right into this one, and I'll mention the sponsor in a second. But how about Reid Detmers? That has to be the story. Like I said, he pitches 6 innings. He gives up just 5 hits. He had 2 walks, but he only gives up 2 earned runs on the home run. 8 strikeouts, his first win since April 12th. And this is exactly what we wanted to see since the Angels decided they were going to bring Reid Detmers up. In both starts, he's honestly been really solid. He started against the Dodgers on September 3rd. He pitched 6 innings, gave up just 3 hits, 2 earned runs. He had 2 walks. He had 10 strikeouts. He was really impressive. And a pretty darn impressive start today. Yes, it's 5 hits instead of 3, and it's 2 walks once again. It's only 8 strikeouts instead of 10, but come on. This is a phenomenal start. This guy's ERA was at 6.14 coming into this month. He only had 1 start in the month of June, and he gave up 5 runs in 3 2/3 innings before he started making those minors appearances. But since he's come up 2 really good starts, the ERA in the month of September is 3. And it's not against the Mariners. It's not against the A's. He played against the Dodgers and the Twins, who sure are struggling right now, but this is still a team trying to make the playoffs, and a Dodgers team that's obviously probably the best team in baseball, and he has looked really good against both of those lineups. So he absolutely deserves a ton of credit, he being Reid Detmers. He not only statistically wise look good, but just the eye test. I think you can say you got to be confident in what you're seeing from Reid Detmers. I mean, when I was doing the crossover postcast with Pete Fox during Detmers' last start against the Dodgers, Pete was like, hey, this guy, Reid Detmers, looked pretty darn good. He shut down this Dodgers lineup. Like, is this a story? The Angels pitching, but yada, yada, yada. The reason this matters, obviously, is because there's actually some competition, some good competition for the starting rotation for the Angels next year. Now, it's not Corbin Burns competing with, other name X Luis Gil or something amazing starting pitcher. But still, there are competent starters that are going to be competing to be in the Angels rotation next year. Certainly, I keep saying it every show, but we know Tyler Anderson's going to be there. We know Jose Soriano is going to be there. Whether Caden Dana struggles the rest of the year like he did yesterday or not, Caden Dana will probably be there, because just you have to, right? That's 3 of the 5. Then you've got 2 spots with Reid Detmers fighting for a spot, with Sam Aldegheri fighting for a spot, with Jack Kohanowitz fighting for a spot. Not to mention the Angels might go pick up another starter. Not to mention guys like David Staniel and others are still going to, Chase Solseth are still going to be fighting for that spot as well. And that's all with knowing that in the back of your mind, maybe not next year, but the following year, Patrick Sandoval will be fighting for a spot, right? So maybe there's not a bunch of elite arms in this rotation, but there's a bunch of competent arms, it feels like now, that are going to be fighting for those spots. And I feel like Reid Detmers might have the advantage in terms of getting that number 4 spot in the rotation right now. You have to give him credit. It's not easy to come back from a minor league stint after you have been no good, and he wasn't even amazing in the minors. That's why a lot of people were concerned with him coming back in. Yes, towards the end of his minor league stint, he had some impressive starts, but before that, he was giving up more runs in minors than he was in majors. He was walking guys all over the place. He was giving up home runs galore. Obviously, the Angels sent him down for one thing. This guy's got to get his control back, right? We know there's potential in terms of the pitch repertoire, in terms of the velocity, in terms of the break. He's got everything in terms of being a good thrower, but he's not a good pitcher right now. And honestly, at the time, he wasn't even a good thrower because he wasn't locating stuff. Not only has the control looked a little bit better, the strike to ball ratio is pretty decent. Tonight, 97 pitches, 63 of them strikes. In that amazing start against the Dodgers, 100 pitches, 68 of them strikes. You will certainly take that compared to what we were seeing in previous starts. I mean, if you go back to the month of May, 57 of his 100 pitches in most games were strikes, something around there. So really encouraged to see him, throwing almost 70% strikes in his last 2 starts, and that's why he did well. Only 2 walks in each of those games. If you look at some of these games earlier in the year, it was walks, it was a ton of hits. It was a combined, just brutal starts from Reid Detmers, but the past 2 starts have been very solid, passing the eye test, striking out good guys, everything. Strikeouts, not a lot of walks, not a lot of hits. He does give up the home run here, but I'm not going to complain about that at all. He gives up just a run in the 3rd and a run in the 4th too, so it's not like it was one big inning where he gave up both runs, and it's not like it was, giving up 1 run in 3 or 4 consecutive innings. Just a couple innings where you give up 1 run. I'm not going to complain about that at all if I am an Angels fan that's hoping and praying to see Reid Detmers live up to that potential that we still believe he has. If you missed this one, he gave up 1 run in the bottom of the 3rd. He gave up a leadoff double to Michael Hellman. And anytime you give up a leadoff extra base hit, it's going to be tough to get out of the jam. He looked like he was going to do it for a second. He gets a ground out from Brooks Lee, and then Austin Martin lines out to Taylor Ward. So just like that, he gets back-to-back outs. I'm sure that Austin Martin ball was ripped, 97-mile-an-hour exit velo. Very easily could have been a hit. You're lucky it wasn't. But 2 outs, Carlos Santana up, and a 1-2 pitch, a good at-bat for Reid Detmers. Throws a first pitch changeup right on the corner. Then he throws a changeup that just misses, gets a foul ball and a curveball, and it's 1-2. He throws a fastball high. Don't know if I love that as the strikeout pitch, and Santana absolutely ripped it. A ground ball in the hole, 101.5 exit velo, able to score a run, and it wasn't over there. Then he walked Ryan Jeffers, and you're thinking, uh-oh, are we about to see Reid Detmers explode? But no, then he strikes out Jose Miranda, and he gets out of the third. He gave up one more run, that being in the next inning in the fourth, a 2-out home run to Kyle Farmer, and this is just a really bad pitch. There's no other way to put it. He falls behind 2-1, throws a 2-1 curveball, which shows maybe the confidence in the fastball is still not all the way there. He absolutely hangs it, and it's absolutely destroyed by Farmer. 419 feet, 100.6 or 106.9 exit velo. Absolutely destroyed, but he's able to settle in. Right after that, strike out Michael Hellman. It's okay. You still have a lead because at that point, the Angels already have 4 runs thanks to some nice hitting that we'll talk about after the first break here. So when we come back, we'll talk about the offense. The moral of the story, Reid Detmers, more than solid. More than happy with his performance. Certainly, I mean, it helps you get the win. It's his first win since April 12th, and it gives you confidence that you have 1 or 2 more starts like this in the remainder of the month of September to close out the season, and Reid Detmers will be maybe the number 3 or number 4 guy in this rotation. I don't know how Angels fans feel about that, but you'll feel a lot better if he closes out the season the way he's pitched in these last 2 starts in September. So I'm going to take my first break. Today's show, by the way, is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. I had to get that in there because it wasn't working at the beginning of the show. I'm going to take my first break here, and when I come back, we'll talk about the offense. 6 runs thanks to Niko Kavadas and Taylor Ward. Yes, we'll talk about, and Brandon Drury too. A lot of names you wouldn't expect to come through for the Angels, but they did tonight. We'll talk about it after our first break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, once again, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. You've heard me talk a lot about FanDuel. Why? I mean, it's America's #1 sports book. That's why. But I have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. I absolutely love FanDuel, and I absolutely love the NFL Sunday Ticket. I had it last year. It was great. I was in an apartment, college apartment, senior year. Me and my 4 other roommates absolutely all love football. We all chipped in, got a YouTube TV NFL Sunday Ticket plan, and it's great. It's about as good as you can ask. You sit down, and you got every game you could think of. Do you got fantasy guys you want to follow? You need Sunday Ticket. Do you have FanDuel bets or other company, fantasy props and all that, and you need to follow them all? The whole point of FanDuel, the whole point of these other companies where you're placing bets or wagers on players to do well, is to make the viewing experience more fun. But what's the point if you put that stuff down and you can't actually view the game? Then it's useless. It's no fun in just checking the box score after the game and seeing if your FanDuel bet hit. That's useless. The whole point is you get to watch it, you get to sweat it, you get to be nervous and see if it comes through, and you need NFL Sunday Ticket in order to do that. So take advantage once again of this amazing 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Just visit FanDuel.com, download America's #1 sportsbook. If you forgot what it is the one and only FanDuel. Back here live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I am Gavin Carlson, and the Angels win a game after back-to-back losses in Texas. Poor starts from a couple of starting pitchers. Not tonight. Reid Detmers pitches 6 innings, gives up just 5 hits, just 2 earned runs. Looked really impressive as well. Another 8 strikeouts. He now has 18 strikeouts through his first 2 starts in September after being in the minor leagues for a couple months. So absolutely pleased with that. Also pleased tonight with the offensive performance. Now, did this team score 12 runs? No. But we know 6 runs feels like 12 with the Angels. They had 9 hits, and a couple guys that you wouldn't expect to come through came through. I mean, Taylor Ward goes 3 for 4 and has a walk. His average is almost up to 250. If his average finishes at 255, 260, some people would argue, Gavin, these are useless stats. It's the month of September. You're 24 games under 500. Are we really going to give Taylor Ward credit? I mean, let's be honest. It's been useless games for the Angels since the second month of the year. The team has been 15 games under 500. They've been out of the playoff race. We knew that this was not a year that the Angels were going to compete. So I honestly, call me crazy, maybe I'd rather see a guy not struggle at the beginning of the year, because at the beginning of the year, you do have some hope that maybe this team could make some sort of miraculous playoff run. But the second you know that's not happening, is there really a difference between what this guy is doing in middle of June versus what he's doing in the middle of September? Not really. The season has been over. And if anything, you'd rather see a guy close out the year well so that he can have some momentum, something to build on going into 2024 and going into the 2025, season. So Taylor Ward has been brutal for most of this year, but he's really picked things up lately, especially once he got moved in the leadoff spot. You know how I felt about it originally, but I get it. He said he's better in the leadoff spot. Schanuel said he's better batting third. They've kind of both backed that up with their performances. And if Taylor Ward finishes the season hitting 255, if the OPS is almost at 800, we know I and all of you probably agree that he should have been traded at the deadline for something. But hey, you can't argue with in 2024. This isn't like the 1980s where a good hitter is hitting 310, all right? If you're hitting 260 with an almost 800 OPS, it's decent. It's certainly not great, but for this lineup, it's probably the best thing we'll see. He goes 3 for 4 with a walk, but maybe the main story in this one, Niko Kavadas goes 2 for 4 and he has 2 RBIs as well. He still manages to strike out 2 times. The average is still 137. The OPS is still 561. But once again, this is a guy that even after a 2 for 4 performance is hitting 137. What does that tell you? Tells you that he doesn't get 2-hit games very often. In fact, this might be his first 2-hit game of his career. I have to double check that, but he was solid. And also, how about Brandon Drury with that 2 RBI performance as well? And the Angels started right away in this one, which you love to see. They seem to do that a little bit more than you would expect as of late. A leadoff walk from Taylor Ward and then a double from Zach Neto. Just like that. It's second and third with nobody out. And Nolan Schanuel, who I didn't even mention, he gets the first big swing of the game. Zach Neto had the double, but a 2 RBI single from Nolan Schanuel. And before the Angels have even registered an out, they're up 2-0. Absolutely love to see it. Now, Drury comes up right after that, grounds into a double play, and then Mickey Moniak grounds out to end the first inning. But you can't argue with 2 runs before you get an out. Nolan Schanuel, a nice swing. It's 2-0. Really, the one thing I liked is that the Angels were competitive in most innings in this one. You don't always get to say that. In the second, there's a Logan O'Hoppe leadoff walk. Obviously, 3 straight outs after that, but like to see the team threatening with a leadoff base runner. And then in the third, they do it again, this time via the 2-out rally. Ward and Neto both get out, but then Nolan Schanuel walks, and Brandon Drury, yes, Brandon Drury, the guy that for most of the year does not look like he knows how to play baseball, hits one 459 feet. Hello? 4th home run of the year for a guy who's been playing for about 60% of the season. That's embarrassing. But my goodness, one of the swings of the season, let's be honest, one of the at-bats of the season. This guy hits 4 consecutive foul balls. He goes ahead 2-1, then he hits 4 consecutive foul balls, takes ball 3, it's 3-2, he gets a fastball up and in, and oh my word, 109.6 exit velo, 459 feet, and it puts the Angels up 4-0. So got to give credit where credit's due. A heck of a swing. This game didn't make a lot of sense. Brandon Drury hits one 460 feet, and Jose Suarez gets a 3-inning scoreless save. One of those games that makes no sense, but love to see that from the lineup. Niko Kavadas with a double in the 4th, otherwise 1-2-3. But once again, felt like there was at least one base runner almost every single game or inning. Top of the 5th inning, a leadoff single from Taylor Ward. Sure, there's a challenge. Ward is thrown out on a pickoff attempt, infuriating. Taylor Ward always seems to give you one boneheaded play an inning, but the moral of the story is every inning, the Angels at least had one guy on base, and then you keep getting rewarded every other inning. 2 in the first, 2 in the 3rd, and then 2 here. And then 2 here in the 6th inning, thanks to Niko Kavadas once again. And once again, 2-out rally too. Got to give him credit. Logan O'Hoppe with a 2-out single. Glad to know he still is holding a baseball bat because hasn't looked like that for recent weeks. Really happy to see Logan O'Hoppe do anything. I feel for the guy. And then Niko Kavadas gets his 3rd home run of the season. And boy, he didn't hit it 460 feet like Brandon Drury. He hit it 364 feet, but 106.7 exit velo. He hit low launch angle. He hit it really hard. A slider right down the middle on 3-2. Another good at bat as well. This isn't first pitch swinging. This is full counts, having good at-bats, taking balls inside, only swinging at strikes, and then destroys a hanging slider to make it 6-2. Absolutely love it. Now, from there, the Angels kind of went on cruise control. Taylor Ward did another infuriating thing. This guy had 3 hits, and he managed to get picked off after one of them, and then gets thrown out at second on another one here in the 7th inning. So leave it to Taylor Ward. He's always going to do something dumb. But once again, you just keep going through every inning. Taylor Ward gets on the 7th. The 8th, Brandon Drury gets on via the walk. The 9th, Taylor Ward and Zach Neto get on. So just every single inning, there's runners on base for the Angels, and you absolutely love to see that. When we come back, we'll talk about Jose Suarez. We'll get to Gavin's good, bad, and ugly. We'll read your comments, and we'll wrap this one up here on tonight's victory edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. I'm Gavin Carlson. This is Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel, and I'll be right back. Now, finally, today's show is brought to you, by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Shout out to eBay Motors. Back here live one more time on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I'm Gavin Carlson, and the Angels win, baby. They win 6-2 the final tonight. We don't always get to see it. We don't always get to celebrate it, but the Angels do get a victory thanks to Reid Detmers' great start, thanks to an offensive performance that includes home runs from Brandon Drury and Niko Kavadas and a 3-hit game from Taylor Ward. And finally, the most shocking thing of all, 3 scoreless innings from Jose Suarez. Yes, you heard that right. Jose Suarez pitches 3 innings, not even scoreless, hitless. Just 1 base runner via the walk. He strikes out 4 of the 9 outs, only gives up 1 walk, no hits. The ERA drops all the way to 7.51. He's still been abysmal, but unbelievable performance from him to close this one out against a Twins lineup that really, really needed wins. Anthony Jimenez hilariously says, will Suarez challenge Ben Joyce for the closer job next season? Good God, don't even make that joke, although it is pretty funny. But yeah, good to see Jose Suarez, I guess, do something. No, I'm not even going to say that. I still think he stinks. I still don't want to see him pitching. He better not be pitching next year. There's too many talented arms, too many arms with potential to be wasting innings on Jose Suarez. Absolutely hilarious. Like Saucy James said at the beginning, imagine your squad is competing for a playoff and the opposing team brings in Jose Suarez and he pitches 3, let me correct you, hitless innings. Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, so let's quickly get to Gavin's good, bad, and ugly before we wrap this one up. The goods. I mean, I kind of already said it. Taylor Ward, 3 hits. Got to give him the good, even though he manages to get picked off and thrown out at second in 2 of his 3 hits. Niko Kavadas, he's certainly good. 2 for 4 with the home run. Brandon Drury, he has the 2-run home run as well. But a couple other Angels hitters with underrated performances in this one. Have to give Zach Neto credit for having that double in the first inning that really got the Angels going right away. Sure, he did strike out 2 times other than that, but anytime you can start a rally to help the Angels get 2 runs in the first inning, you deserve credit. Nolan Schanuel had the big 2 RBI single in the first as well. So if you look at some of these stats, Zach Neto, 256, 771 OPS. Would love to see that get over 260 and the OPS over 800 by the end of the year. I think that would better encapsulate what his season has been, specifically when he had that unbelievable kind of month of late July to early August. Would love to see that. Would love to see Schanuel get to 250 and the OPS over 700, the same way I would love to see Ward get the average over 250 as well. Ohapi goes 1 for 3. He only strikes out 1 time, and he gets on via the walk. So thank goodness Ohapi gets on twice. He only strikes out once. We haven't seen that lately from him. His OPS is still over 700, better than Nolan Schanuel's, because Ohapi, we know what he does in terms of slugging and the extra base hits. In an amazing world, Logan Ohapi somehow gets to over 250 by the end of the year, but I don't think that is going to happen. Stefanik goes 0 for 2 today, and then he gets substituted. Teodoso still does not have a major league hit. He goes 0 for 4 tonight with the strikeout as well. But I'm not going to give I don't think I'm going to give anybody on the Angels a bad or ugly. which we rarely say. I mean, Mickey Moniak probably gets a bad 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, but you know what? It's a solid win. I'm going to be positive. Nobody gets a bad or an ugly. The number one ugly is the Twins. This team is still theoretically competing for a playoff spot. They're now third in the AL Central. They've lost, I believe, 4 in a row. They're playing the Angels and then the Reds after that. This is supposed to be their opportunity to get some wins and turn things around. But my, oh my, have they fallen off. They lose 3 straight. They get swept by the Royals in a huge division series. And then they lose the series opener here tonight against our Angels. And then they've got the Reds before they play 4 huge ones against the Guardians. So boy, are they stumbling right when you can't afford to stumble. That's easily the bad and the ugly is what is going on with the Minnesota Twins. You know, I don't really care, to be honest, and I kind of feel bad for a little bit. I like the Twins. I think they're an okay team, fan base and everything. And honestly, it's been a kind of weird year in the AL Central. Maybe part of you would want to see them come through and maybe win this one. It's been a fun division. I mean, earlier in the year, we were talking about the Guardians being a shocker best team in the league for a little bit. But Guardians are 82 and 62. They've been absolutely great. The Royals are just 3.5 back, and the Twins are 6 back of them. The Twins are still in the wild card hunt, I believe, despite... How does that work? I guess they're in the wild card hunt despite being below the Royals in the AL Central standings. They're above them in the wild card standings. I don't really understand how that works, but moral of the story is... Or no, I guess all 3 of them are in the wild card, excuse me. So, yeah, certainly the Twins are playing for a lot, and they cannot afford to lose this game of the Angels and lose this series. Rare opportunity for the Angels to win a series. We have not seen that in ages. They obviously lost the Rangers series 3-1. They split against the Dodgers, and then Seattle series, they did win that series. They won 2 out of 3 there. That's the only series they've won in ages. So, would absolutely love to see another series win. In fact, that's the only series win, I believe, in the month of August and September. Or no, they did win against the Yankees. Yeah, that made no sense. But would love to see the Angels win a series. We know what we're trying to accomplish here. We're just 3 wins away from confirming we won't get to 100. And we're also just like 8 or 9 away from confirming we won't have the worst record in Angels history. Absolutely fighting for that as well. But with all that being said, I'll wrap this one up and let you guys go enjoy the rest of the Monday Night Football game. Go enjoy the rest of your Monday night. And please, please, please join me back here tomorrow to see another postcast, hopefully after another win, another game at 4:40. So expect the postcast to be around the same time. But with all that being said, I'm Gavin Carlson. Angels win 6-2. Reid Detmers looked great. The lineup was good enough. And Jose Suarez somehow played a good game of baseball. Miracles everywhere for the Angels tonight. And we will take it. We deserve it. We deserve it. All right, I'm Gavin Carlson. Angels win. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, go Angels. Take care, everybody.